Have you ever noticed how in the middle of chaos, some people seem completely calm, almost unshaken, while the rest of us are falling apart? It's not that their life is easier. It's that their anchor is stronger. Knowing your why is the foundation of staying calm and confident when life gets hard. It's not just a nice motivational phrase, it's a deep, personal compass that shapes how you see the world, make decisions, and recover from challenges. When you have a clear sense of why you do what you do, you are no longer at the mercy of external events. Instead, you operate from a place of inner direction. This clarity doesn't remove the difficulties of life, but it changes how you experience them. You stop reacting impulsively to what happens around you and start responding intentionally from what happens within you. Most people live by what Simon Sinek calls the what and the how. They know what they do: go to work, chase goals, build relationships, and they know how they do it through effort, talent, or discipline. But very few take the time to understand why they do it, why they choose this career, why they get up every morning, why they want to make a difference. The why goes beyond external rewards or expectations. It speaks to meaning and belief, the deeper reason that gives your actions purpose. When you anchor yourself in that why, you create emotional stability. No matter how unpredictable life becomes, your purpose remains constant. Imagine a ship caught in a storm. The winds are fierce, the waves unpredictable, but the anchor keeps it from drifting aimlessly. Your why is that anchor. Life's storms, failure, rejection, loss, can easily push you off course if you don't know what grounds you. Without a clear why, every challenge feels personal, every setback feels final. But when you are guided by something larger than the problem itself, you gain perspective. You begin to see obstacles not as threats to your identity, but as tests of your commitment. The storm doesn't change your direction, it only strengthens your grip on the anchor. When your purpose is clear, calmness becomes possible even under pressure. You no longer chase validation or react to the opinions of others. You focus instead on fulfilling your purpose to the best of your ability. Confidence grows naturally from that focus, because confidence is not about being perfect or fearless, it's about being aligned. It's knowing that no matter what happens, you are living in accordance with something meaningful. A person driven by purpose can lose a job, face criticism, or endure uncertainty, yet still remain composed. Their identity is not built on circumstances but on conviction. Having a strong why also helps regulate emotions. Stress often comes from feeling lost or unsure about where you're heading. When you know your why, you can separate temporary discomfort from long-term direction. You can tell yourself, this pain is part of the process, and that understanding alone brings calm. For example, an athlete who knows their purpose is to inspire others through perseverance can endure grueling training with patience. A teacher who believes their purpose is to empower young minds can stay centered even when the classroom feels chaotic. The clarity of purpose doesn't remove hardship, it gives hardship meaning. Discovering your why requires introspection. It's not something someone else can hand you. It emerges when you reflect on the moments that have moved you most, the times when you felt alive, connected, or deeply fulfilled. Your why is often rooted in contribution, in the desire to serve something greater than yourself. When you uncover it, you gain not just motivation but direction. And when direction meets difficulty, confidence is born. So when life gets hard, return to your why. Write it down, speak it aloud, and remind yourself daily. Let it guide your actions and shape your mindset. Because when your why is strong enough, no storm can shake your peace. The world may test your patience, your plans, even your faith, but it can never take away your purpose. And that, more than anything else, is what keeps you calm and confident no matter how rough life gets. Accepting what you can't control is one of the hardest yet most liberating lessons in life. Many people spend enormous energy trying to manage everything, the outcome of their efforts, how others see them, even the unpredictable turns of fate. But life doesn't work that way. The truth is, control is largely an illusion. You can influence your actions and your attitude, but not the results that follow. The more we fight against this truth, the more anxious and frustrated we become. Calmness begins the moment we surrender the need to control everything and focus instead on what's truly within our reach. When life gets hard, it's natural to want certainty. The human brain craves predictability because it gives us a sense of safety. Yet, the reality of living is uncertainty itself. You can plan carefully, work diligently, and still face setbacks beyond your control. Accepting this truth is not about giving up, it's about letting go of resistance to what is. There's a quiet strength that comes from saying, I don't have to control everything to be okay. It's the recognition that while we can't dictate the winds, we can still adjust our sails. This shift in mindset is where true peace begins. People who remain calm under pressure don't necessarily have calmer lives. They simply understand what's worth their energy. They don't waste time fighting the uncontrollable. Instead, they invest that energy into how they respond. They focus on their values, their actions, and their attitude. When something goes wrong, they ask, what can I learn from this? Or what's my next best move? Instead of, why is this happening to me? That change in focus transforms powerlessness into power. It's the difference between drowning in chaos and finding balance within it. Confidence, too, is built through this acceptance. Many believe confidence comes from controlling outcomes, winning, succeeding, or being right. But real confidence comes from trusting yourself even when you can't predict how things will turn out. It's knowing that whatever happens, you'll handle it. When you accept that uncertainty is part of life, fear begins to lose its grip. You start to realize that you don't need perfect conditions to move forward, you just need the courage to act with what you have. That kind of calm confidence is unshakable because it's not dependent on circumstance. It's rooted in resilience. This mindset can change how we handle relationships, careers, and personal growth. In relationships, we often try to control how others behave or respond, which leads to disappointment and conflict. When we accept that we can't control another person's choices, we become free to love and communicate without manipulation. In our careers, we might obsess over recognition or success, but those outcomes are not always in our hands. What is in our control is our integrity, our effort, and our attitude toward failure. This focus not only reduces anxiety, but also improves performance because we are no longer distracted by fear of what might go wrong. Letting go of control doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop resisting reality. It means you stop measuring your peace by the behavior of others or the results of every situation. You begin to measure it by your ability to remain centered and grounded in the middle of uncertainty. Life becomes less about avoiding problems and more about managing your response to them. That's where calmness lies, in the space between what happens and how you choose to handle it. When you truly embrace this principle, confidence becomes a natural byproduct. You no longer need guarantees to move forward. You no longer need everything to go your way to feel secure. You realize that calmness isn't about control, it's about trust. Trust in yourself, trust in the process, and trust that even when things don't make sense, they're still shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable of handling whatever comes next. The moment you accept that life will always have uncertainty, you begin to live freely. You stop fighting reality and start flowing with it. And in that flow, you find a peace that control could never give you. That is how you stay calm and confident, even when everything around you feels uncertain. By letting go of what you can't control and mastering what you can, your mindset, your effort, and your response. When life gets hard, our first instinct is often to ask, why is this happening to me? It's a natural reaction, born from confusion, pain, and the human desire to make sense of our struggles. But that question keeps us stuck. It focuses our attention on blame and misfortune rather than growth and possibility. The people who remain calm and confident in the face of adversity learn to ask a different question. What can this teach me? That single shift in mindset transforms how we experience difficulty. It turns problems into teachers and setbacks into stepping stones. Asking, why me, is rooted in victimhood, but asking, what can this teach me, is rooted in ownership. It doesn't mean you deny your emotions or pretend things don't hurt. It means you choose to see meaning in the pain. You begin to understand that life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. Every difficult experience holds a lesson, even when it's uncomfortable or unclear at first. When you adopt this perspective, the chaos around you doesn't feel as threatening. You start to feel grounded because you're focused on growth instead of loss. This shift also brings calmness because it gives purpose to suffering. Unexplained pain creates anxiety, but meaningful pain builds resilience. When you can identify what you're learning, patience, humility, strength, empathy, you regain a sense of control not over the event itself, but over your response to it. That's where confidence grows. You realize that even in uncertainty, you can extract something valuable. You may not control what happens, but you can always choose what it means to you. That choice is the essence of inner power. Many of the most resilient people in history share this mindset. They don't see failure as an end but as information. They treat every setback as feedback, every challenge as an opportunity to evolve. When something goes wrong, instead of asking, why did this happen to me? They ask, what is this trying to show me? What skill do I need to develop? What belief do I need to let go of? This mindset doesn't make pain disappear, but it makes it productive. You begin to grow through what you go through. It's easy to be calm when everything is going well. True confidence appears when things fall apart and you still choose curiosity over despair. Instead of fighting against reality, you lean into it. You start to trust that every hardship is preparing you for something greater, even if you can't see it yet. That trust quiets the noise of panic and helps you focus on what matters most, your growth and your integrity. In that space, calmness replaces chaos because you are no longer fighting the situation, you are learning from it. This perspective also reshapes how you view failure. When you see failure as a teacher, you stop fearing it. You stop seeing it as a reflection of your worth and start viewing it as part of your education. Every mistake becomes a lesson in self-awareness and strength. You realize that wisdom is rarely born from success, it's born from reflection on difficulty. This realization gives you the confidence to keep moving forward, no matter how uncertain the road becomes. Over time, asking, what can this teach me, builds emotional maturity. You become less reactive, more patient, and more compassionate, both toward yourself and others. You begin to understand that everyone is learning their own lessons in their own way. That empathy helps you remain calm in conflict and confident in uncertainty. It helps you replace judgment with understanding and frustration with purpose. When life gets hard, you always have two choices: resist the pain or learn from it. Resistance leads to bitterness, learning leads to growth. The moment you start asking, what can this teach me? You take your power back, you turn obstacles into opportunities and fear into fuel. Calmness comes not from avoiding difficulty, but from seeing its value. Confidence comes from trusting that no experience is wasted when you choose to learn from it. So when the next challenge arrives, and it will, pause, breathe, and ask that one transformative question. What can this teach me? In that question lies the path to peace, growth, and unshakable confidence. Confidence is often misunderstood. Many people mistake it for arrogance, loudness, or the absence of fear. But true confidence is quiet. It doesn't need to shout or prove itself. It's the steady inner assurance that says, I can handle this, even when everything around you feels uncertain. When life gets hard, real confidence isn't about pretending to be strong. It's about trusting that you have the capacity to figure things out, even if you don't have all the answers right now. It's not a show of pride, it's a reflection of self-trust. The most confident people are not the ones who never stumble. They're the ones who've stumbled often and learned that falling doesn't define them. Their calm comes from experience. They've been through storms before, and each time they found a way to stand again. That memory builds a quiet kind of strength, a belief that no matter how hard things get, they can adapt, recover, and grow. Confidence, therefore, isn't built on the illusion of control or perfection, it's built on resilience and self-awareness. It's knowing your worth, not because everything is going your way, but because you've learned you can endure when it doesn't. When people base their confidence on external achievements, titles, appearance, praise, they create a fragile foundation. The moment those things are taken away, their sense of worth collapses. That's why true confidence must come from within. It's grounded in values, not validation. It's built on knowing who you are and what you stand for, regardless of circumstances. When you define your confidence through integrity rather than image, you no longer need to chase approval. You simply live in alignment with your beliefs, and that alignment becomes your source of calm. Confidence also grows when you embrace vulnerability. It may seem contradictory, but being honest about your fears, weaknesses, and uncertainties actually strengthens you. Pretending to have it all together breeds insecurity because it's unsustainable. Admitting that you don't have everything figured out makes you human, and humans connect more deeply through authenticity than perfection. When you allow yourself to be seen as you are, without the mask of constant control, you remove the pressure to perform and create space for genuine confidence to flourish. You stop needing to appear strong and start becoming strong. Calmness and confidence go hand in hand because they both come from the same source, self-trust. When you trust yourself, you don't panic in the face of uncertainty. You understand that fear is normal but temporary. You don't need to have everything under control to move forward. You just need faith in your ability to respond well when challenges arise. That belief allows you to stay centered. You may still feel stress or doubt, but you don't let those emotions dictate your actions. Instead, you act with intention, guided by your purpose and values. This kind of confidence is quiet but powerful. It doesn't seek attention. It doesn't need to dominate a room or prove superiority. It's the calm voice that steadies a team in crisis. The steady hand that keeps working when things fall apart, the quiet courage that chooses integrity over popularity. It's the person who keeps showing up, doing their best, and trusting the process even when the outcome is uncertain. That is real confidence, humble, grounded, and unshaken. To cultivate this, you must practice self-reflection. Look back on moments when you've overcome difficulty. Remember the times when you didn't think you'd make it, yet somehow you did. Each of those experiences adds to your foundation of strength. The more you acknowledge your ability to endure, the less afraid you become of future challenges. Confidence grows not from avoiding struggle, but from recognizing the growth it brings. So when life gets hard, don't chase the illusion of perfect confidence. Embrace the real kind, the kind that's quiet, patient, and deeply rooted in who you are. Stand firm in your values, trust your resilience, and know that you've weathered storms before. Yet the calm that follows isn't the absence of fear, it's the presence of faith in yourself. And that kind of confidence can never be shaken, no matter how strong the winds of life may blow. When life becomes difficult, many people instinctively retreat inward. They isolate themselves, convinced that strength means carrying burdens alone. Society often reinforces this idea, glorifying independence and self-sufficiency. But the truth is, calmness and confidence are not built in isolation, they grow through connection. Human beings are wired for relationship. We find courage in belonging, clarity in shared understanding, and peace in being seen and supported. When we choose connection over isolation, we don't become weaker, we become stronger, more grounded, and more resilient in the face of life's challenges. During hard times, isolation might feel safe. It allows you to avoid vulnerability, to hide your struggles from others, and to maintain the illusion of control. But isolation also amplifies fear and self-doubt. When you're alone with your worries, they grow louder. You start to believe your problems are unique, your pain misunderstood, and your hope out of reach. Yet when you open up to others, whether friends, family, mentors, or a community, you discover that you're not alone. Others have faced similar storms and survived. Their empathy and perspective remind you that hardship is not a personal failure, but a shared human experience. That awareness alone can restore calm. Connection also provides emotional grounding. When life feels chaotic, people who care about you can help you regain balance. A simple conversation, a word of encouragement, or even silent presence can steady your mind. Confidence often comes from having someone who believes in you, even when you're struggling to believe in yourself. Sometimes, all it takes is one person reminding you of your strength to reignite your own faith. This is why connection is so essential. It gives you mirrors that reflect your worth when you temporarily forget it. Moreover, connection expands perspective. When you're consumed by your own difficulties, your vision narrows. You see only the problem, not the possibilities. Talking to others opens new viewpoints, ideas, and solutions that you might not see on your own. It helps you step outside of your pain and see a bigger picture. That shift in perspective brings clarity, and clarity brings calm. Confidence follows when you realize that there are always resources, people, wisdom, and love, available to help you through whatever you're facing. Choosing connection doesn't mean you depend on others for your happiness or stability. It means you recognize that strength is collective. Even the most resilient individuals draw courage from their relationships. The leaders who inspire us, the heroes who overcome immense challenges, often have strong circles of trust behind them. They don't succeed because they're self-reliant, they succeed because they're interdependent. They know how to give and receive support, how to lean in when life gets heavy, and how to offer the same compassion in return. When you connect with others during hard times, you also cultivate empathy. You begin to understand that everyone is fighting invisible battles. This understanding not only makes you more compassionate toward others, but also kinder to yourself. You stop judging your struggles as weakness and start seeing them as part of what makes you human. Empathy builds confidence because it frees you from the pressure to be perfect. It allows you to be authentic, to show up as you are, flaws and all, and still feel worthy of belonging. That authenticity is where true confidence lies. Connection reminds us that we are never truly alone, even when life feels overwhelming. The comfort of knowing that someone cares, listens, or simply understands can make the unbearable bearable. It's not about fixing every problem, it's about sharing the weight of it. When you allow others to walk with you through difficulty, the journey becomes lighter. And when you do the same for someone else, your own strength deepens. So, when life gets hard, resist the urge to isolate. Reach out, speak, listen, and let yourself be supported. Connection doesn't take away your pain, but it transforms how you carry it. It replaces loneliness with belonging, fear with trust, and uncertainty with courage. In that shared space of humanity, calmness grows naturally and confidence becomes unshakable, because you no longer face life's storms alone. Every person encounters moments in life that test their limits, times when pressure mounts, plans fall apart, and uncertainty seems endless. It's natural to see these moments as punishment, as if life is somehow unfairly targeting you. But what if challenges are not punishments at all? What if they are training, deliberate opportunities to strengthen your character, deepen your wisdom, and prepare you for what's ahead? This perspective transforms hardship from something to fear into something to learn from. When you begin to see challenges as training rather than punishment, everything changes: your attitude, your energy, and your sense of purpose. Life's most valuable lessons rarely come from comfort. Growth happens in discomfort, in the tension between what you know and what you're learning. When everything feels easy, you aren't being stretched, and without stretching, there's no growth. Just as muscles must endure resistance to become stronger, your mind and spirit need challenge to expand. Each setback, each failure, each disappointment is a form of resistance training for the soul. It's how life builds resilience. When you stop viewing difficulties as unfair and start viewing them as part of your preparation, you reclaim your power. You're no longer a victim of circumstance. You become a student of experience. Seeing challenges as training also creates calmness because it gives meaning to struggle. The unknown is frightening when you can't see its purpose, but when you understand that hardship is shaping you for something greater, the fear begins to fade. You start to endure with patience rather than panic. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin asking, "What is this preparing me for?" That question alone transforms stress into strength. It replaces frustration with focus. Instead of resisting the lesson, you start working with it. Confidence is another natural outcome of this mindset. Each time you survive a challenge, you gather evidence of your resilience. You realize that you've been through difficulty before and came out wiser, tougher, and more capable. That realization becomes the foundation for calm, quiet confidence. It tells you, if I could handle that, I can handle this too. The next time adversity appears, you face it with less fear and more faith in your ability to adapt. Confidence doesn't come from everything going right. It comes from knowing you can endure when everything goes wrong. This way of thinking also cultivates gratitude. When you see challenges as training, you begin to appreciate the hidden benefits within hardship. You recognize how past struggles have prepared you for current responsibilities, relationships, or opportunities. Perhaps the heartbreak taught you empathy, the failure taught you humility, or the rejection redirected you to something better. Gratitude doesn't mean you enjoy suffering. It means you recognize that even pain can serve a purpose. This awareness keeps you calm when life tests you because you understand that struggle is never wasted. It's refining you into someone stronger, steadier, and more compassionate. The greatest leaders and thinkers throughout history share this mindset. They don't see adversity as an obstacle but as part of their evolution. They know that pressure reveals character and that each trial carries within it the potential for transformation. You cannot develop patience without waiting, courage without fear, or resilience without struggle. Life in its wisdom gives you exactly the challenges required to shape you into who you're meant to become. The moment you stop fighting this process, calmness returns. You no longer resist life, you cooperate with it. So when you find yourself in a difficult season, remember that this is not punishment, it's preparation. Every obstacle is an invitation to grow stronger. Every disappointment is a lesson in resilience. Every delay is a chance to practice patience. You are not being broken down, you are being built up. The pressure you feel today is shaping the strength you'll need tomorrow. When you adopt this perspective, hardship loses its power to shake you. You stay calm not because life is easy, but because you trust that every challenge has meaning. Confidence grows because you know that no experience is wasted, and that every test is training you for the person you are becoming.